So, I'd like to introduce Ricky, who's going to be our guinea pig today. He's going to sing some exercises for us today. The first thing we're going to do is something very simple. You should always start with something very simple, very easy. I use a 3-note scale, and I always like to start on the vowel E. E is always easiest for the voice. The chords meet in the smallest area when you sing E. So I have all my singers start on the E. We're just going to do a 3-note scale like this. Now you don't want to go too far up in the register for the first exercise. Maybe 5 notes or 5 of those exercises in a row. Again, as we go further in, we're going to go higher and higher up in the instrument. You should take into mind what type of voice type you have. So Ricky here is a tenor. I started fairly high for a tenor anyway, around F or E natural, and then we go up 5 scale degrees in that exercise. Again, just to get blood flowing through the instrument, get the instrument working in a certain way. Now, I mentioned that there's these 3 parts of the voice that we want to coordinate: the breath, the vibration, and the resonance. This E is really helpful for the voice. It meets the chords in a very efficient place, but mostly in this exercise we can repeat it and add a layer to it to help us get in touch with the breath. So Ricky, what I'm going to ask you to do is lean on the upper note of this particular exercise with the breath. So what he's going to do is he's going to go sort of crescendo toward the top. He's going to feel the breath really surge up toward the top of that part of that exercise, and then flow back down. Here we go. And good. Excellent, Ricky. So I had Ricky go up a little higher in his voice, and you notice Ricky has kind of a sliding quality to his voice. It's more of like a glissando, what we call a portamento. That's really beneficial when you're warming up to slide between notes. We don't want to get the larynx used to going E, 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 because that really cuts off the breath. We have this portamento feeling of going surging toward the top. Then Ricky has a chance to then let the breath really motivate the instrument, or motor the instrument to the top of that phrase. So that's what we do to sort of coordinate the breath. Now, let's talk about how we can get the breath going a little better in a different scale. Let's try a 5-note scale. So we're going to go the same principle, so it's just going to go a little farther than we went last time than a 3-note scale. So on Ya, please, and Ya, Ya. Of Ricky's voice. Now, before we venture into that top part, we want to sort of get used to what that top's going to feel like. So we want to give Ricky sort of a sound that's not actually his singing voice, but sort of a high tone that he can start up in there and come down to a lower part of his voice. So this is exercise called a sigh. So we're going to start really high in his voice. So you're going to go, ah, and go down. Try that, Ricky. Good. Try again. And good. So Ricky did something very interesting. In that first exercise, there was a little break in the voice, and then he regulated his breath so he didn't have that bump in the middle. Okay, he just went through that passage in his voice we call the passaggio. So this upper exercise gets an idea for him it gives him an opportunity, I should say, to use that upper part of the voice without singing. Because once we attach humans this singing concept to high notes, we tend to get all bound up. So the very sigh, relax, we relax the jaw, release the jaw, and just go